Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Uncut Hawaii. And we just wanted to say thank you for coming back every week and listening and commenting and sharing. You know, the whole idea of Uncut Hawaii was that we are filmmakers. We do a lot of interviews and we get to hear the whole story, but we only get to share a little bit of it. So we wanted an opportunity on a platform where we can have the whole conversation uncut and in our guests' own words.
Yeah, it's been so exciting to hear, from these entrepreneurs, these creators, these change makers, and, a lot of them are friends, and you get to hear their story. And I think the best part is we get to share it with you guys uncut.
Yeah. So today we have Rianas Stellburg, and if you're an Uncut Hawaii listener, you've heard her in season 1. She is a DJ, a spiritual healer, and she shared her journey in the last episode. But today we're going to deep dive into spirituality, which is something that we wanted to do for season 2, is really just deep dive with some leading experts in their fields.
Yeah, we hope you like it.
Rianas Stellburg back as our first Hanaho guest. Welcome back to Uncut.
Thank you so much.
She's not a Stellburg anymore.
I know.
Congratulations.
New episode,
Identity
new
change.
season. Yeah, I'm
New
now
name.
Rihanna Talklos.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been, I feel like a new unlock, character unlock, That's what it
Yeah.
feels like. Yeah.
I know. That's awesome. So we had you on our first season 1. So if you haven't watched or listened to Rihanna's episode, please go back, pause here, go back, listen to it, watch it, and then come back, because we get to talk about your journey and then into spirituality. And today you're here as our spirituality expert, and we're so excited.
Yeah, that
to dive
episode,
in.
got everyone very curious, got me curious. And, a lot of people were like wanting to know more. And, with this season, that kind of like sparked our idea of like, oh, we should go deeper into like different topics and industries, and like spirituality was definitely one of them. So thank you for coming back, and we're stoked. We're just gonna go with the flow and see where this episode takes us.
I'm sure. Yeah, no, like after last season, I was thinking about it a lot, because there, we had a mixture of comments, right? There's some high vibe and some low vibe comments, and like my whole thing is like, if this is my view, this is my experience, and I don't look or act like your average spiritual expert, like I'm a human at the end of the day, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to humanize this role, right? Whatever role this is. And I think, for whoever listens, sometimes it won't connect with you and sometimes it will. And if it resonates with you, then take it. But if it doesn't, like, keep it moving. You don't, I'm not forcing your hand to listen to this,
Right.
And my whole thing is like, I'm trying to connect with the people who are open, who are curious, and who this message is for, who this perspective is for. And that's what I want to offer, is a different perspective. So that's a little preface. So yeah,
We're all about high vibes over here.
high vibes here, okay?
No negative Nancy's trolling.
High vibes only. Good
Yes.
vibes only.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm so thankful to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming back.
Yeah.
So we got to talk about your journey into spirituality, which was so interesting. And I like that you said that you don't look like the typical spiritual teacher, but we love that, because like that's what we connect with. That's who we are. And it's like, it's not, spirituality is not for just like the elite, like people who are have been practicing or reading the Bible or whatever for years. It's really like available to everybody, right?
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about like your toolkit, like you were saying. So things that you do within spirituality, because it's a huge topic. So what are some of the things that you really practice?
Yeah. So basically everything I offer was, and it still is, part of my toolkit. It's what I go back to whenever I'm having anxiety or feeling sad, or like just trying to process my feelings. Like this is what I practice. And I don't want to say I practice what I preach, because we're not trying to condone that, but it's just like like for me, if my healer isn't healing and if my healer isn't using the tools that they're using for other people, then what's the point? What's the point? And so I do practice breath work depending on my mood that week. Like for instance, for, we're in Cancer season, right? Cancer Leo season. I have like 5 water placements, and we can talk about what that even freaking means too later. But it's a lot of emotions are coming up. I'm sure y'all feeling it too.
Yes.
Lots of emotions, lots of illumination, like things getting unveiled. And so I've been doing breath work at least like once or twice a week. Sometimes if I could bump it up to more, I totally would. But like my bare minimum is like at least once a week, just to help ground me. And what I mean by breath work is I do like 2 inhales, 1 exhale out. And in yoga, they call it pranayama, which is active breathing. And you do that for 20 to 25 minutes. So you're breathing for that long.
Wow.
2 inhales. What was that again? 2 inhales
so
in?
2 inhales. So 1 into the belly. So like you push out into the belly, into the chest, and then exhale out. And that second inhale is hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's a practice.
You feel winded.
Yeah.
Like 25 minutes.
25
minutes.
And like we can even dive deep into breath. There's so much resources out there talking about health and breath, right? It's all about the breath. There's like a book out there called Breath. I forgot the author's name, but he like did a study where he like plugged up his nose and was like mouth breathing, and like it brought so much like bad health things,
Wow.
That's why when
just not being able to breathe.
it's like when you sleep and they you snore with your mouth open, they say that's not good because then it adjusts like your jaw. Like, I could go into it, but the fact of the matter is that a healthy breath is what will help everything else, right? So I do that for myself. I'll even like DJ my own breathwork container at home, and like put a playlist together and breathe to that playlist. And then I do it also for my clients. So it's hard because a lot of people can't do that at home. Can you imagine like active breathing at home? Like that's weird. Like a lot of people are like, what? Your loved ones would be like, what's going on in there?
Yeah.
Because you are over oxygenating the blood. A lot of emotions come up. I have cried hysterically. I have screamed. I have laughed. Like just so many emotions come up. And it's not even about figuring out where it came from. It's just at least you're releasing it and not suppressing it anymore, right? So for my clients, it's very private. It's just me and the person. And then I make a playlist specifically for them. And then I talk about kind of like what they want to release or just kind of feel out like what they're even open to. Maybe the first session is just about the breath, like getting into the practice of that. And I always say, a lot of it relates back because every indigenous culture has a form of breath work and energy work. So for Filipinos, we back in the day, we had the babaylans who were like the shamans and the healers. A lot of them were trans, mixed. But when the Spanish came over to colonize the Philippines, they were intimidated by them because they had a lot of say in their community. They were the healers in their community, And then what ended up happening was that they ended up feeding the babaylan to the alligators.
Oh, wow.
What?
Yeah, which was, or like they like killed them and fed them to them, And so we, as the babaylan, like my lineage, they were always like, okay, so the alligators are part of our ancestry. So even though, they fed us to the alligators, we were coming back home to our ancestors, So what ended up happening was this is a myth, but I'm not sure. I feel like it's true, 100%. So what ended up happening was the alligators ate the Spanish colonizers. Like they just ate them all, And so why I bring up that story is that whenever things like that would happen, the babaylan, they would come back to the breath. Every inhale you take would be coming back home. Every exhale is like releasing all the bullshit, the white noise, anything else that's not you, basically. So I always remind, my clients that even like with my Irish background, my Celtic background, they use breath work to sing as a healing modality. They would sing to their, whenever someone was sick, and a lot of that takes a lot of breath. So I always encourage everyone to kind of look into their own culture and kind of figure out, wow, like how has breath played a part in my upbringing or my conditioning or in my ancestry? Because, you know, a lot of our parents, they have forgotten that, or they have chosen not to remember that anymore, you know? So dive deep into it. So yeah, breath.
Breath and even, and it's even at its most like elementary stage, like they tell you like, if you feel overwhelmed, just like take a deep breath. Like even my kids know that. It's like they teach that to them. Like if you're feeling scared or anxious, like you just take a deep breath.
Exactly.
Like, take a deep breath.
It's your time to process, you know, and before it's like that window of like reacting or responding. You want to react or respond, and you have to create that space in between those two. That's what I like to envision it to, or like a traffic, you know, like the cars are bumper to bumper. The breath is what brings space in between, like visually in your mind. Yeah.
But actual breath work, like the practice, what have you seen it? What do you do when, is it more so like when you need answers, like when you're feeling overwhelmed, like what do people get from it?
So initially, like what made me seek out breath work was when I was working in the COVID unit. And I really needed to find a way to ground myself before going in, because I had so much anxiety. I think I was pretty much depressed. Like I was questioning everything. I was questioning what I was doing. So a friend introduced breathwork to me, and I would do it right before my hospital shift, and it would just make me feel a little bit more grounded. And it just transformed me. Like it that's the best word I can kind of describe it. It's transformative once you really get into it, because like a lot of things just come up that you don't create the space or time for to process, you know? So like a lot of grief, a lot of people will come seek it with grief, or if they are going through a transition or they can feel something they're ignoring, you know, like breath will bring it out of you.
Yeah, I feel that, because like you're committing your time and energy into doing this breath work, and
right.
like, you know, it's like a time to process, and
and like
things will come up for sure.
Right. And there's so many layers to it. Like it can be very personal, like your journey. It can be very collective, like how I feel as a woman in this society, or like the world, how much grief we, you know, like you feel it all.
That connection.
Yes.
Do you think that's also part of it, that breath work is that connection to, like you were saying, like the collective or spirit
100%.
guides? Or
because remember, we all have the breath.
Yeah.
All of us. Yeah. And when we again take that space and time, we're like reminded of that, like, fuck, I can breathe. And when you're breathing, you're living, you know what I mean? And having even that reminder is so humanizing, you know, and reminds you like, oh shit, I ain't shit. Like, whatever I'm dealing with is minor. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm breathing.
I'm breathing. I'm alive, you know? So all that stuff. It's a lot.
I did it once, like in a group, and it was my first time. I didn't know what to expect, but I was like weeping. I was like so over, like it was so intense. I was not expecting that. I was like, I don't know what this is, but it was just everything. It just felt like overcome by something.
Yeah, your body almost feels like you're having a body high, you know, and like you're just feeling all these vibrations, you know. It's just it's really powerful. And like the way I like to approach it is very practical, you know, like I'll be there, you know, during all these emotions up and down, but I'm not trying to like make it into something that's super like mystical, you know what I mean? It's very practical. Everyone can do it. Everyone has done some shape or form of it. That's why when you're pregnant, you do breath work. Hello, you know, when you're giving birth, right? And it's just it's so accessible, and that's what I want to like push for people. Like, I honestly, and correct me if I'm wrong, public, I don't know anyone that offers one-to-one sessions for breath work here on Oahu. Not that I know of yet.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
It's intimate, very vulnerable, especially in a group setting. Ooh. Yeah.
Okay.
Now
I want to like do some breathing.
Honestly, even like a really like basic, there's two names for it. There's box breathing and then the four square. even doing that just to kind of calm down the nervous system is so helpful. So like it's 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, and then 4 counts out. Like even doing a couple of rounds of that will help center you, you know, especially when you're angry or feeling some type of emotion too much, you know. Yeah. Always recommend box breathing. Yeah,
that's good. You know, it's just kind of exactly, being reactive or responding. You know, so
yeah.
I've seen it done as like kind of like a body hack too, not like a spiritual thing, but like a body hack to like become, I don't know, more.
No, it's a somatic exercise. Like a lot of therapists use it. I like to do it too with like even like body, like hand movements and stuff. So like we can even do it right now. So, I mean, even the listener, if you're listening, if you're not driving any car or anything, or if you're parked, one way you can do it is like, even when you're sitting down, you can lay your hands in front of you with the palms facing up. You can take a deep inhale through your nose and squeeze your hands tightly into a fist.
As you're inhaling.
And then you hold it, you hold your grip just for a couple of seconds. And then you exhale and you let it go. This is my favorite one. So I do a couple rounds of this, usually in meditation, like before we get into the breath work, just to kind of like all that jitters from the, you know, early morning from this week. You're just imagining yourself letting it go.
Yeah. And it's always inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth.
Yeah. For that particular exercise. And something about
the physical part of it too.
Yeah. It just instantly makes you feel calmer. Yeah. I've done it for people like on the street. When they were having anxiety. It's super powerful. You can do it with your toes too, like scrunching up your toes if you're lying down. That feels good too. Yeah. But the somatic, the connection is like you said, like it's a body hack. Yeah, because again, it's all interconnected. You're tricking your body into thinking you're safe, but not tricking, but you know, reminding it that you're safe. Yeah.
Crazy.
So that's part one.
Okay, so that is one thing that you offer. That's like on your offerings. And then you also have other things. You have tarot, which is something that you talked about in the first episode.
Right.
About like how people would just kind of be drawn to you and you would start doing tarots. And that's something that you learned as a child too.
Yes. And that for me, like, before I was able to have or afford a therapist, tarot was my therapist. It really was, you know. It would call me out in the best way possible. It would remind me of who I was, you know. And tarot is really good for like clarification if you're like looking for a clear answer. And usually like when I talk with my clients or like someone new, for example, I have to have a consultation with them first, because 9 times out of 10 they don't need a tarot card reading. They need an energy healing session. Like they know what's going on, you know, and maybe they're looking for the validation, and that's what the cards will give you. It won't tell you anything new. It'll just repeat what you're already thinking.
Where does the power of the tarot cards come from? It's not from the actual card.
No, not from the actual cards. I always call in your healed ancestors, your guides, your angels, your spirit team. People like to say that. Divine. I'm like hitting up all the people that like love you and want to see you win, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I mean other spirits too, like land spirits, but I always make it a thing to call the healed ones forward.
Yeah.
We don't want anyone still figuring out shit in the afterlife, you know? But always calling them. I recently did I accidentally left my post up for tarot card readings, and I'll do it once a year, like a really quick one. And I had like over 30 readings. And even just that, like being able to just like record and channel for 30 people, you know, and send it to them. I had to get to a point where I just trust, like the message is for them. Like it's just what it is. Like I don't question it anymore. And I just send it. I don't reminisce or think about, oh my God, I hope they received it and I hope they understood it. You know what I mean? Like I just, I leave it already. Yeah. And that takes,
it's like their message.
That
like,
shit
not yours to think about.
Yep. And that is, you can't teach that. You have to go through it on your own. Yeah.
But what is interesting is that you do the tarot card. And so you're like pulling you're reading like whatever, or not reading, but you're like explaining what the card means.
Yeah.
But you are also an intuitive, so you also like, it's not just the card, right?
No, I don't memorize like the definition, or I don't read from the book. Like I interpret the cards, you know, and a lot of that is hearing messages from your guides, you know, and what they want you to hear. And that's what I'll always ask too, is like, what does, you know, Kolby need to hear in this moment that will give her clarification and empowerment, you know, and then I'll connect the message. And that's what I love to do, is connecting all of it together. Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like hear the, like, tell us how you know? Do you just know, or like how do you, is somebody there talking to you? Are you hearing
Okay.
audio of somebody
Okay.
talking to you?
So I feel like this is a segue into psychic abilities. Let's go.
Yeah.
So and you can look this up, you can dive deep into it. So I'll give you like a really general view. Basically all of our senses, you know, we're all sensitive as humans, you know, not sensitive, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna cry if you call me a mean name. But no, like you're receptive as a human, right? We have our eyesight, our hearing, our smell, our taste, and then I forgot touch, and then, you know, the sixth sense, right? Which is just like the, ooh, you know? So for psychic abilities, there's a clair for each sense. And clair, what I mean by clair is that like you're clairvoyant, so you just know. You're clairsentience. I'm trying to remember if that one is, it's hard for me to remember like all of it. I just know it's associated to each sense, right? Like I said, you can look this up. It's not my job to know all of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know for sure, for me, I am clairvoyant. I have now almost all of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're seeing. So some people will see figures or auras, you know. I don't. Sometimes I will, not all the time.
What have you seen? Have you seen like an actual ghost? Or yes, is there one behind me right now?
No. I have seen, and like sometimes you know, in sessions, ancestors will pop in and I will describe them, what they look like.
Crazy.
Or what they're wearing. And the way that the spirits communicate with me, they'll offer like a piece of their clothing or like what they're wearing first, and then I'll see like the rest of the features.
Oh wow.
I just got major chicken skin just now.
Yeah. So like one of my clients, I can feel the presence, and this is because I think I was connected with my grandma. She was like the matriarch of our family, like I said in the other episode. So grandmas come to me first. You know, they just feel like that magnetic force to me in any like client session. So the last time, I think it was a grandma presence, and she showed me her pearl necklace. And then worked her way up, and I saw the rest of her face, and I described it. And at the time, my client didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. I was like, I feel like it's a grandma. It's a grandma. She's showing me a pearl necklace. I leave it to them. I don't even try to like, prove my worthiness as a psychic or anything. You know what I mean? I'm like, she just showed me a pearl necklace. You do with that information. Go look it up when you go home. Go look at photos and go see. And then she's like, yeah, I can't remember. Like, I don't think my grandma ever wore a pearl. I'm like, that's fine. She just, that's what she showed me. And so she went home, and then she texted me a photo of her grandma wearing a pearl necklace. I was like, yeah, that's her. Yeah.
Crazy.
Dang.
So in that case, you actually saw like her face, you saw like a thing.
Yeah, and it depends on the connection that person has to that ancestor coming through. Yeah. Then the stronger the connection, the more vivid they look to me. Then I can really paint a picture, you know? But so that will happen. I'll hear them. I'll hear what they say, and I'll repeat what they say. It every day is different. Every session's different, you know?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Knowing is a big one for me. I just know.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's
fun.
It's fun. I was like, that sounds terrifying.
Sounds intense,
It can be, and this is kind of like the stigma that goes with that, right?
Yeah.
Being psychic, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to see nothing, you know. But then you have to state your boundaries. Say you don't want to see any scary things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And be really like upfront about like, hey, I know I have this ability, but can you not show me anything that will scare the shit out of me, please, you know, and say it out loud so everyone will hear. I think for me, when I was younger, my mom has visions, and she would have really scary visions, and they would come true.
Oh no
And
way.
I was like, hell no, I don't want to know when like people die or anything like that.
No.
Like, but
Yeah.
my mom was she's very strong, so she can handle that info. I can't, you know. So at a very young age, I'm like, I don't want what she has. I'm like, don't, please, I don't want to have any dreams about that. And then my dreams were like suppressed for like years, like over 10 years. And then when I started diving back deep into my journey and healing again, then I was like, you know what? I'm open to it. Whatever you got to show me, but can you please keep the scary stuff like at a low, bare low minimum, you know, like
setting expectations.
Yeah. And then it was so beautiful because now I dream of like, I dream of people getting pregnant. I dream of babies, you know, and then I'll tell them, are you pregnant? And that's a new one for me. Predicting pregnancies. That's been a new one for me. And it's been kind of interesting. Yeah. Predicting the sex and everything like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And telling people when they're going to get pregnant. I remember I was in acupuncture, and then I was laying down, and that's when I have the most visions, I feel like, is when I do acupuncture. And it was so crazy because like I had a vision of a female who was pregnant, and like really pregnant with like a girl, you know, and I'm like, oh, I feel like her due date is gonna be in March. And then I was like, where's this pregnant lady coming from? And then so Paige Young, she's my acupuncturist, she came into the room, and I asked her, I'm like, hey, is there a pregnant lady like next to her? She's like, oh my God, yeah. Why?
Really?
I'm like, I just had a vision. She's gonna give birth soon. Yeah, like March. She's like, shut up. Hold on, let me go ask. And then yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was in March, and that was the first time for me. Yeah, my nipples are just getting hard thinking about it. My spidey senses.
Mark that as a reel.
So like for me, like I'll get chicken skin, goosebumps, my nipples will get hard, you know. Those are all
having a vision right now.
Yeah. Or just whenever that happens, it's like pay attention right now to this moment. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Have you ever had anything like that happen to you?
Like a vision?
Yeah. Or like you saw anything?
Or felt like you just know or feel like you already feel it. Like when you go into like a environment and you're like, oh, this person.
Yeah. You feel the
I don't
boundary.
think I'm going to get along with this person.
Yeah, I definitely feel that sometimes. And I think I lucid dream a lot too.
Yeah.
So I think that's like, I mean, I feel things happening.
Can I just say not everyone dreams?
Yeah, I know.
Did you know that? Did I say
crazy.
that?
Or you don't remember,
Yeah.
or do you just not dream?
Some people just don't dream.
And we were talking about this one time.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I asked Megan every morning, I'm like, hey, like, you know, did you sleep well? Blah, blah, like, did you dream of anything? She's like,
You know,
no.
it's
I either
it's
don't remember or I don't know.
Mostly men are like so psychic. It's just
Really?
It's just hard because they're so. I mean, I'm not talking to you. I'm making a generalization, but they're so against it because they're skeptic. They're analytical. They want the facts. You know, intuition, it has been kind of associated with more of a feminine trait, right?
True.
Being psychic. If you look at our history, the Salem witch trials, all that stuff, all women, you know, but there were men in there too, right? But because they're so used to seeing that all the time, they paint it as a feminine trait.
That's true.
I mean, it's not like a feminine trait. I mean, you are in like feminine flow, as you know, everyone has a masculine, feminine side, right? Yin, yang, all that stuff, right? And when you are in your flow state, that's you being in your feminine, you know? Masculine, like for me, I tend to operate more in my masculine, normally, you know, but then there is the feminine, like when you create, that's a feminine flow. Yeah. But then when you edit, that's like
It's
masculine,
like very,
analytical.
like get shit done.
2 + 2 = 4, you know, like that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Like facts and logistics.
So that's like an interesting thing too, like how people have it, but they might not be open to it. So does everybody have access to it?
Everyone is psychic. You can quote me on that. Everybody. is psychic. You have that ability. It's just if you're open and willing to see what that even means, or like see what your abilities are. And for me, like a lot of the time people are really freaked out when they hear that, because again, we have the stigma of like, oh my god, psychic, ghosts, vampires, like all those things.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, obake, yeah,
right, obake, you know. But for me, I think I always try to remind people, like, this is what's gonna connect you with yourself, you know, with you, connect you with your ancestors, you know, and that's my whole thing, is always connection back to ancestry, you know. And I think it's like, I know a lot of people, when they think, oh, you're a psychic, they just overwhelmed by all this responsibility. Like, what does that mean? Now I gotta like read cards, I gotta I gotta help other people and predict things for people, you know. I got people gonna hit me up for gambling numbers, you know. Like they are bombarded by that first. But like, I think as if you can sit with it and kind of process it, for me, it's another toolkit. It's like a whole other toolkit to use to help you heal and to help you move about your life. You know, how awesome is that you have access to tapping into that whenever you want, right? And so it's just, you need to be open and curious about it, like see what's there, you know.
What would be like the actual things that people can do? Like, okay, so I want to just kind of explore this world, and I've never done anything like this before. I've never heard voices, never seen anything, I've never felt anything.
Starter kit. You want the psychic starter kit?
Psychic
You're gonna get a Ouija board. No, I'm just kidding.
Buy an oracle deck.
Buy an oracle deck. I mean, if you want, like, you can do oracle deck. There's affirmation decks out there that's really helpful too. But if you want something a little bit more practical and you don't have to buy anything, we can start with parking.
Oh, yes, parking.
Yeah, we can start with
predicting
parking.
where the parking stall is going to be.
Yeah, so like, if you know you're going to a place that is like high volume, lots of cars, like Chinatown, for example, I want you to start saying this over and over while you're driving. Like, I mean, it could work if you're in the passenger seat, but I think for a starter kit, right, you be the one driving. I mean, you can try to, if like your husband or your partner or a friend's driving.
Go there.
Yeah. So already, like, just know in your heart that you're going to get a parking spot no matter what. And that's the hard part, is believing that you will get it, because any ounce of doubt, it'll mess it up. Like,
that's so hard.
Yeah, it's really hard, but again, it's the practice, you know. And even other people will be like, we're not gonna find parking, and I know this from experience, because my husband and some friends are like that, right? So you have to like create this bubble around you, like, no, we are getting a parking, you know.
Shut up.
Yeah. So I'll start chanting or like repeating this affirmation in my head. I'm gonna get a parking stall right now in front of here. I'm going to get a parking stall right now in front of here. Then I'll just keep repeating and driving around. Out loud. Out loud is the best. But again, like, if you're not trying to freak out people, you can say it under your breath. I've done that a lot, but saying it out loud is the most important part. And
can you just think it like, I want to, like, not even say it under your breath?
You can think it, but then it's like, I feel like the universe won't hear you though.
Yeah.
You need to say it. Yeah. You need to let all the parts
be bold.
Yeah. You got to like really say it out loud, you know? And that even plays to everything that we do, right? Like, we can think of an idea, but it's not real until we say it.
Right.
Right? Like, then people can hold us accountable for it, right? So same concept. So if you want to start, that's a good place to start. Find a parking stall. There's a parking for me right now in front of the restaurant. There's a parking stall right now in front of the beach, you know, all the time. I do it at Kaimana Beach all the time.
Kaimana's is a good place. Yeah.
Yeah. I always score parking there. Always.
Really?
Yeah. Everywhere I go, I score parking. Yeah. I remember recently, actually, and it's just so funny because I have new friends that are hanging out with me, and they're like, what the fuck? You're like chanting and stuff, you know? And because Robin will be like, what, was she chanting again? You know?
He knows.
There she goes again.
I know. So my friends were at Ala Moana Beach. It's a Saturday. It is 11 a.m. You know, that's peak.
Super peak.
Super peak high traffic time. And they were like by the white wall, the showers, and you know how there's cars in the front. So they were right here, and I was like, I will find a parking. There's a parking stall right in front of them, and I just kept repeating. And then while I was driving, I saw a person leaving right in front of them,
Crazy.
like right there. So
Oh,
I was like, skirt, and I like turned around and I took it. And then everyone's like, oh man, I had to walk so far. Like I had to park all the way at Magic Island. Rihanna, where'd you park? And I was like, over there. And they're like, oh, you would park right there, you know. But it's like even just that.
Just something as small as that.
Yeah, it's like just like manifesting, right? Putting it out into the universe.
It's manifesting, yep, for sure. Manifesting, all that fun stuff. And yeah, I think a lot of it too, when we talk about manifesting, is that we have to be prepared to let something go if we're gonna be calling in something, right? So in the parking case, I'm trying to manifest a parking stall, but my husband's saying we're not going to find a parking. So I need to let that go and believe fully that this parking stall is coming into my life right now.
Yeah. So not just dealing with your doubt, but everybody else's doubt too.
And that's the hard part is how do you tune everyone out?
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, at the end of the day, that's life, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's life.
Yeah. So it really is just like, even if you have doubt, trying to like shove that doubt out and just like stay focused in the knowing.
Truly believe.
Yeah. Because it's hard to do if you're not practicing it. Like there's always that.
It's a muscle.
Fear.
You need to do it every single day. Like it is a muscle. It's taken, and that's the thing, like I was saying, like that can't be taught. The believing part, the trusting part, like you need to do it. And you have to go through your own trials and errors, right, to finally believe it. Yeah. So that's the hard part to teach. Yeah.
So back to the psychic toolkit.
Yeah.
And like try to get rid of that doubt in believing that you can receive messages or you can be psychic. Like, is there anything else that people could do if they're interested in just exploring that?
I think one fun little experiment, my friend Rochelle, she started saying this, and it's crazy. Like, I would say get like a notebook or keep like a notes tab open in your phone. So every morning before you wake up, say, I welcome any and all gifts from the universe. And say it, like I usually say it about 3 times. And then I say, thank you, like over and over again.
Like you already got it.
Yeah. And you just say it, and you don't even know what it is. You're just open to see what comes up. I kid you not, the first day I did this, I got money, I got free bananas, I got, what else did I get? It's just so random, like a bunch of different things. And like, again, like when we think of gifts, we think money, you know, or like we think something like financial, you know. But if you just really open up and just kind of open up the floodgates of what a gift is, you'd be surprised. So like you can even start now. Like, I welcome any and all gifts from the universe. I welcome any and all gifts from the universe. Thank you. And keep a notes tab and start keeping track of like what people are giving you. Yeah. Maybe they're giving you their time. Maybe they're giving you their like advice, you know, or it's something physical. Like, hey, you want mangoes, you know, like, because I know it's mango season now. I've been getting mangoes left and right, but but that's
thank you.
Thank you. But that's like a really good place to start, and then, you know, opportunities might come.
That's good. I like that idea of like writing it down and keeping track, because then you can feel like you're getting a lot, but when you look back and see all the things all the blessings, it's like, oh wow, that did work.
Yeah.
I remember like in high school, this is kind of a random story, but then I think about it all the time. So like in high school, my senior year, we had our English teacher had us start a journal. It's the first time I ever like really journaled consistently. I like kept a diary like when I was a kid, but like every day we had to write for 30 minutes, maybe not 30, maybe like 10 minutes. But then my thing was like, I'm going to use this time to just be like grateful. And this is like my senior year self. Like there was no like kind of, you know, manifesting and all that stuff.
No one is telling you to write about that.
I was just like, I'm just gonna like write down things that I'm grateful for. So like every single day for my whole senior year, I did this, and I kid you not, like this was like the most magical year of my life. I would just like think of like, I'd be like, I think I want to be class president, and like boom, or like I want to be homecoming queen, and just like, or a new car. and even things that I never even asked for were just like given. Like it was magical. And I always think about, I wonder if it was something to do with like that 10-minute journaling really every day.
It's
just
being
thinking about it and being grateful.
Right. Being in gratitude. And it's hard. I get it. Like, we hear it all the time. Make a gratitude list, blah, blah, blah. But it's true, though, because it keeps you in this, like, frequency, this vibe, you know, that is...
Yeah, that's what it is.
That is good.
Totally.
And it's high, you know, and
it
feels
was a high
good.
vibe.
Yeah. So all of that will be attracted. Like, you know, the freaking secret law of attraction, right? Like attracts like. Yeah. So same concept, right? And I agree with that. I was the same in high school. Like, I wanted to be class vice president. I was class vice president. I wanted to be speech and debate captain. I was speech and debate captain, you know. But so for you came from a grateful place. For me, I came from like a challenging, ambitious place. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to do it for me. You know, and challenge myself, but that's still very high vibe. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be grateful. It's like, what can I do if I'm gonna be in this position? Like, what can I do for other people, right? And you know, sometimes you can think about that with money too. Like, if I receive this money, I'm gonna donate to this, and then I'm also gonna do this and this and this. You know, like, if you can lay it out to yourself and to universe what your plans are, be like, okay, here we go. All right, you stated your business plan. You know what I mean? Like,
let me invest in
Let me invest. Exactly. No, that's exactly what it is. And again, like, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. You know, mine is not all the time. I mean, the parking is all the time. But, you know, like, it depends on my mood, right? But that's what the toolkit comes in for. The breath work, the energy healing, the tarot, just to kind of help you stay recalibrated.
Get refocused.
That's so true, because we all know those people who like seem to like things just come easy and they're like on such a high vibe, like they're always happy and all that. I'm like, damn, like
what are they doing?
You know, what are they doing?
But I can look at you guys and I feel like you guys are getting, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you guys are high vibe. But again, we're humans, so not every day is going to be like that.
Yeah.
But like, you guys are go-getters, you know, like if you want something done and you have intention behind it, it'll come to you. And I feel that way with both of you guys. So.
And it is like being responsible, like actually like this person does fill me up, and like being intentional and like smart about it too, right? It's not just like woo-woo kind of like putting it out there, but it's like, actually, I feel high vibe when I'm around Andrew. Like, you know, just being aware of like the way that you feel around different people, or things that you do, or things that you know.
No, 100%. 100%. And like, that's why sometimes in your life, you know, you will let go of people and relationships and connections, because you realize like, shoot, I'm like going in like a different direction than this person. And and maybe like 2 years ago I was down for gossiping and all that stuff, but this year I'm not. So that's when you have to like start steering off, right?
And that's like, you know, just like realizing like you gotta move on from things.
And it's
letting go. It's not
really
always
hard.
a bad thing.
Yeah, it's really hard. And like, to constantly have to like clean out like that, you know, it's tough for anyone.
Delete some of those Instagram accounts.
Unfollow, mute. It's not that serious, you know, like, it's just Instagram, you know, like, and it's like talking yourself through it too, like telling yourself that, reminding yourself. So again, it is all very intertwined. It is very practical. It is a little mystical, but it's all of it, you know.
Have you ever like had moments where like it seems like you said yes, like you said all in on this, like opening yourself up to spirituality and like helping people, and it does seem like it would come with a lot of like responsibility. And I mean, what has been the challenging parts of
boundaries? Number one, because I want to help people. And naturally, if you look at my natal chart, I do put myself, like, I don't prioritize myself all the time. And that is my challenge every day, is how do I choose myself every day? And I like, I'm not going to pretend that I got my boundaries right and it's like, it's all good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not perfect. Every day is different. Some days, like, I can uphold my boundaries. Some days I can't. you know. And it's funny that we're talking about this because right now I am in the middle of burnout, you know, and I recognize that within myself. I know my burnout cycle. I'm in one right now, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta get out, you know. Like my body is telling me, like right now, like I don't know if you guys remember in the last episode I talked about how people who overstep their boundaries are not showing themselves that much love to like their heart chakra, their shoulders and chest start to hurt. Oh my god.
Somebody get this girl a massage.
I know. I have like the sharpest like neck shoulder pain connected to my neck because I'm not speaking my boundary, you know what I mean? So like I recognize this within myself, so it's easy for me to recognize that within other people. And I'm not one to like scold you or anything because I get it. I know how it is, you know. It's like, what will I do to help you get back to that place? Right, exactly. So like whether that's pulling away, like for me, I know like I knew this was going to happen to me. Like my future self, past self knew this was going to happen. So last month I scheduled a week of no work this month. Because I fucking knew.
Wow.
I was like, you know what? I think I need to schedule a week where I'm not doing anything at all.
And you protected that week.
Oh, hell yeah, I did. And this is like, it's so crazy, like, because people, you know, I'm booked 1 to 2 months out now, which is great. Super grateful. Thank you. You know, not complaining, but like I am trying to find a new flow right now. Like I'm in transition. So to keep up with that, like I have to take those days off and say I got to take days off. I'm trying to go beach at least once a week, every week, you know, and just trying to get back to my tools. But some of them don't work all the time. That's the thing. So I have to be willing to try other things then, you know, like meditation. I just did a salt bath the other night, you know, like it's trial and error, experimenting, and each season is going to be different for you. Each day is going to be different. So like yesterday I drank green tea matcha instead of coffee, you know, and I was able to stay awake and it was good. You know, today I didn't drink coffee. I'm going to go after this, but you know what I mean? It's be your own experiment.
Yeah. Just knowing that you have to get back.
Yeah, exactly. To whatever that is, you know, you just want to feel good, right? Sometimes it's not looking back and going, oh man, I got to get back to that routine that I had. No. Sometimes it's just, maybe refining it, making it smaller, and coming back to that feeling of feeling centered, you know, rather than like, oh, I need to meditate every day, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What is being in spirituality and like healing and learning more about spirituality taught you about just like the human experience and like why we're here? I feel like that's a thing that everybody's like gonna have to come face to face with that 100%. At some point.
Yeah, I think for me, like birth and death exist in all realms. Like that's a big one for me. And like metaphorically, you know, like I feel like every day people have to choose which version of themselves that they want to be, and they have to let whatever old version of them die. And there's a lot of grief that comes with that. And we hold so much grief, really. You know, think about it. We're the only mammals that are conscious that we are going to die. Only mammals. Like, we know we have a end date. We don't know when, but we know it's coming. And, like, it's crazy to think about that. Like, oh, we're still, like, living life and laughing and, like, enjoying it. You know what I mean? It's so, just being a human is crazy, you know, if you break it down like that, right? So grief and birth have been, and just joy, all of that stuff has been coming up a lot. And I learned a lot with that I can have both, and that there is no separation of it. It's the flow of it, you know, and how I feel every day. Sometimes I could start my morning really great and then end it on like a really tired and like overwhelmed mode. And it's what I do in those moments to help clear. And that's another thing I learned is clearing. I have to clear every day, especially because I encounter so much people. Not that I'm like taking it on. Sometimes I do take it on if I'm not being protective, you know, and not protective from like a fear base, like, oh, this person's bad juju is gonna get to me, like not that. It's from like a love, like I fucking love myself so goddamn much. I honor myself so much that I'm setting these boundaries, you know, that I'm doing this because I love myself that much, you know. So switching from that, because you know we're again, when we're younger, like we're taught from fear based. There's a lot of fear wrapped up in spirituality, you know. I think also like power has been coming up for me, just kind of coming up with a definition of power, because when we think about power, and even like the world, you know, as you see today, you know, like power to a lot of people is like putting dominion over someone, something, you know, or dominating, right? Establishing domination. But power to me is like owning up and having responsibility and accountability for all of my actions, for all of like whatever I have to say, right? And that's even something I was chanting on the way over here, was like, I hope I say things and convey things that I will be proud of saying 15 years, 20 years down the line on here, right? Like I want to make sure that it's relevant and it'll hit someone in some type of way later down the line, you know, and I won't feel like I've changed, and maybe I will change, you know, maybe I won't believe any of this shit next year. But again, I have to embrace that too.
Yeah.
You know, we're changing always, right? So lots of lessons. I'm still learning. Like, you can be super woke, super aware, super psychic, all of the things, but something happens and you still get reactive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But again, it's like what you do after that then, right? Yeah. So yeah, lots of stuff.
It's huge.
I like have still so many questions, but I'm just like, don't go crazy on her, poor thing. No. I'm just like, what about astrology? What about past lives? What about like?
Yeah, it's so crazy, and I think that's why I love it so much. It's like I will never get bored. Ever. Yeah. My life is not boring.
Like, so many layers to it, and like so many interpretations and things you can explore.
So much connections. Yeah.
But if you are curious, just do your own research and do those little starter toolkit things. Yeah, starter toolkit. There's lots of guides out there. I think again, just practice discernment. Like, if you pay attention to how you feel in your heart, like if you're not vibing with this person, then that's your gut telling you move forward. You know, don't do it, right? Yeah. But if like you're listening to this and you're like, damn, she's like, I feel like she's talking to me, you know, then come work with me.
Yeah. That is like something that I've kind of like learned or took away too, after just like deep diving into all
different
practices and ideas and like things that people have to say. It's like, ultimately you have the answer. Yeah. It is. It's like we totally respect you as a guide and an expert of spirituality, but it's like, at the end of the day, if you have questions, like, you actually have the answers too.
Yes. Yeah, I remember you saying that in the first episode where you're like, you don't like saying you're a healer, but you're like more of a spiritual guide, because you guide them to the answers that they already know.
Exactly. And like, at the end of the day, you are your own healer. Only you can heal yourself, you know? And I want to bring up a really funny story because it just happened. So I got locked in a hotel bathroom the other day.
What?
Yeah.
What? How did that happen?
I don't even know. And it was like a tall door, so I couldn't like crawl underneath or go up above.
Oh, like a public bathroom.
Yeah, it was a very heavy glass door, and the lock in the middle broke.
My God.
And so luckily, like, my girlfriend was with me. She was like my emotional support. She went to go grab the maintenance guy.
Thank God she was there.
Right. But then after, like, I would have been hollering if she wasn't there anyway. But 20 minutes later, the maintenance guy came and he was trying to like unwedge the lock. I'm like, no, bro, it's not going to work. I have to unscrew it from the inside. And he was like, okay, you know how to use a wrench? I'm like, yes. And so he gave me like a tool pack of all Allen wrenches of all different sizes. There was like over 50. And luckily the very first one I picked was the right size. And so I was literally in the bathroom where I was locked, unscrewing myself. You know, I was literally unscrewing myself. Literally. Yeah. So like I unscrewed it, and then the door latch fell, and I let myself out. And that just goes to show you got to save yourself. You can have emotional support, spiritual guy, all that on the outside, but at the end of the day, you got to unscrew yourself.
That's so good.
So I was laughing the entire time. I was like, this is hilarious. This would happen to me. Yeah. Y'all lucky I'm not claustrophobic or, you know, and I was doing breath work and I was like, it's okay. And I was like, this is hilarious. You know, but, yeah.
Oh, that's so good. That's such a great metaphor.
It's just like, perspective.
It really is. Yeah. Like
unscrewing yourself.
Unscrew yourself. But yeah.
All right. So if you have more questions for Riana, are you taking questions?
I'm taking questions. I think, one thing I want to say before anyone asks questions is like, you don't have to know everything. Like, I know spirituality is like, it can be very overwhelming. There's a bunch of different things, just go with the things that you feel like magnetic to, if that makes sense. You don't have to know it all.
Just or let it happen organically.
Yeah, let it happen organically, and if you have questions about that, if you have questions about Reiki, energy healing, tarot, breathwork, I'm like going down the list, breathwork, or just kind of like tapping more into your psychic abilities, ask away, But again, like I said in the beginning, this is my perspective, this is my experience. So if it resonates with you, that's awesome, and that's what I want this message to be for. So and for the people who it doesn't resonate with, I hope you find what you're looking for. Okay. Yeah.
If you made it this far,
you must like something on here. Or I'm activating something within you. And that's great too.
How can they reach you?
So you can reach me online on Instagram at Rianas Stellburg. So RianaStelburg, and then online to rianastelburg.com. I have a newsletter that I send out every month. And then I DJ sometimes.
That thing on the side.
No big deal.
that very public thing, But yeah.
Which is a way of healing too.
It is a way of healing for me, definitely. Yeah, and for people. Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate you, and we will have you on going forward. Every season we used to have Riana.
I would love that.
With a new tool in her.
I would love that.
Yes,
that would be amazing. Thank you for having me. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
Guys. Don't forget to subscribe and like and comment.
Yeah. Only the good ones, though.
Yeah.
Good vibes only.
High vibes.